Well, why let somebody else make all the money, right? Putting a brand together, वो कहते हैं ना एड़ी चोटी का जोर लग जाता है. Well, first of all, thank you, for Bhay.
And why the name Gunda?
I don't know if I should say this on camera, but like regulations are so tough in this country.
Risk is something which cannot be ignored.
I mean, it just goes great, right? Gunda energy.
Okay.
Like, if you think about the thought, I'm the Gunda of my family. I'm doing something totally diverse than the rest of my family, right? It's, this business, it's very exciting. We have our own scale of what we'd like to call Gunda model. Let me do this for you.
Yeah.
Today as a consumer and as a brand owner, I'm very, very proud of what I've built.
Hello everyone, today we are speaking with someone who is balancing two words beautifully, and those two words are business and entertainment. We have actor and co-founder of Gunda, Karan Tacker with us. Karan, a very warm welcome to you and thank you so much for having us here today.
No, thank you so much for coming home and doing this. And when you were giving me my introduction, I was like, wow, this is very fitting, especially for today because I'm running out to an award show and we're trying to wrap this up before I go. So yeah, that is life at the moment.
Okay, great. So, in fact, I've recently watched Bhay and I really enjoyed it. So my very first question to you is regarding that itself, that, you had such a strong acting journey so far, and that makes me curious that what actually sparked your interest in entrepreneurship?
Well, first of all, thank you, for Bhay. I come from a business background. My father's been in business for, almost 35, 40 years of his life. And, as kids growing up, we've always heard about, dad going to office, mom helping him out.
Yeah.
And even me and my sister, when we were growing up, as children, we were always going to office after school, filing for my father and kind of, being participant in small ways. I studied management, in Bombay. And so given all of that background, I feel like I naturally have an inclination and a mind for it. But this happened because, as actors, we're shooting not more than, I would say I'm busy not more than 180 days in a year. So there's an ample amount of 200 odd days, where if I want, I can give myself that extension. And it's a lot of fun because, this business, it's very exciting. The kind of brand that we have, which is Gunda, it is primarily supposed to be everything vice and nice. So naturally, the footing of it is fun, and it even becomes more enjoyable because it's with friends and family. I share partnership with my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, and a bunch of our friends.
Yeah.
And so that's the long and short of it.
Okay. So generally, Karan, actors endorse brands. That's what you've seen, and you've chose to build one, I would say. So what made you take the harder route of becoming a founder instead of just becoming a brand ambassador? You could have taken that route as well.
Well, why let somebody else make all the money, right?
Oh, yes.
That's the whole idea behind it. But and actually, people do often confuse it, assuming that I'm the brand ambassador for the brand without kind of really poking into it and realizing that I'm one of the founders of the brand, and this is how we we came up with the idea together.
That's nice. So now let's talk about Gunda.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so how has this idea come up? And I really want to know, like, was it a night plan that 4 friends sitting together, let's create a brand, or was it a full-fledged business module and plan, and then you executed that? How was the journey?
Actually, I'm shocked on how you know this and how you got it right. That was a great guess, but
really?
This is exactly how it
it
happened. This is somewhere around COVID. Me, Ashish, my brother-in-law, one of our other partners, Amol, Prasad, all of us, we were just jamming on the idea of kind of having a business of a kind, and we came up with a brand name early on. Without thinking of a product first. So
that's so nice. Generally how it is, like, it's a lot, it takes a lot of hunting for a brand name.
Correct.
But it's so great that you got a name first and then later on.
So maybe, maybe it's the nature of all of us, which is that we're Gundas in our own way. That's how we came up with the name. And yes, it did come off a night out, if I may. And that's why the wildness of the brand and the thought of it, being Gunda in the sense of it, came in. And we're very happy that, we thought about it in COVID, but we exercised it, I think, roughly about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
And today, it's seeing the light of the day. We're present in key stores in Mumbai, Pune, we're in Goa all over. We're also expanding as we're speaking. So, seeing your dream come true as a bunch of boys who have nothing to do with this industry, nothing to do with the business, and learning on the fly, It's been very, very exciting. It's been very tough. I won't lie, but yeah, it's just been really nice, and we're happy.
Okay. And why the name Goonda? Because no doubt it's very, bold, energetic, and disruptive at the same time. But what was the reason that you chose Goonda?
Because that's how all of us are, I mean, I feel like, the idea of Gunda only comes, when you think about it, you think gangster or you think Gali ka Gunda.
So it's like Gunda only, not Gunda, because it spells O-O-N-D-A.
So that's the thing, So it is Gunda, which is G-O-N-D-A or G-U-N-D-A, how it could have been.
Sure.
But we gave it a double O because we wanted to give it that twang like Gunda.
Okay.
One is that.
When it comes to, that way, like an accent, Gunda.
Gunda, like it's also fun with the word, right? Otherwise, you think, Gunda, you also start thinking slightly more pedestrian as a brand.
Sure.
And the idea of Gunda came because, I feel like Gunda is also a trailblazer, right? I'm the Gunda of my family. I'm doing something totally diverse than the rest of my family, right? It's very, very adjacent than what my father does, what my sister does, what I've studied. So for my brother-in-law, so for all of us, all of us, we had regular jobs in our life, but we chose to kind of go out there and do something that we're really passionate about. So that's where the thought and the ethos came. And the idea was to kind of create a quintessential Indian brand, which is cool, which is fun, which is brash, doesn't really believe in the idea of boundaries necessarily. We have our own scale of what we'd like to call Gunda moral. So that was the large thought of it, and we came up with the product much later, much later. We actually dabbled with a different product, but we eventually went with agave.
If I may ask you that, what were the other options you were dabbling to?
I would not want to mention it because just in case we do end up giving somebody else a thought and an idea.
That's a good catch. So, El Gunda, how is basically, this one different from other alcoholic drinks, say, in the market existing?
First of all, this is agave. The best part about El Gunda, which is our agave spirit, because we also have a Gunda energy, is it's quintessentially Indian. It's Indian by spirit. When I say spirit, I mean inside out. That the spirit inside is desi. So for everyone who thought tequila couldn't be Indian, it actually can. It is distilled right here in this country. We've got beautiful agave plants and a lot of fields and a great amount of plantation here, and it grows widely. So we get our agave, our raw agave spirit in from Andhra Pradesh, and we distill it in our facility in we age it and bottle it in our facility in Goa. And what sets it apart is the fact that it's got a very uniqueness in terms of our flavorings and our flavors and our blends. Also, given the fact that the name, the bottle, I wish I had the bottle in front of me, but everything is very distinct. So something as simple as a bottle, right? What most people do, which is the easier way out actually, is to kind of go out there, get the bottles that bottlers make, and just kind of use that bottle and build around it. Something as small or big, however you want to think about it, we actually manufacture our own bottles. We got our own design, we got our own mold, and the idea was, because it is Gunda, it is meant to be desi, it's meant to be Indian. So it's shaped like a very cute hip flask. So if it's got a little bend behind it, so if you want to slip it into your pocket,
it comes there smoothly.
As a pre-party, that was a thought. Even the cap, when you open it, it's got that old school, sound. Let me do this for you.
Yeah.
So a lot of thought has gone into.
It's a beautiful packaging as well.
Thank you. Into kind of putting the brand together. So I feel like what sets a brand apart is the uniqueness and the thought that goes behind it. And even consumers today have become so smart and so wise. They want to be with a brand, with the brand's journey, the ideology behind a brand, because that's what makes a brand more interesting, right? When you go on a shelf, you want to pick up something from the 10,000 things that you have.
Because you have plenty of options also these days.
Exactly. Like I feel like as brand owners, the more interested you are in your product, I feel like it kind of translates into the consumer as well. So we went in like through and through, and we spent a whole lot of time and a lot of money in something as just kind of making the bottles, because this seems very easy, but to put the curb in is ergonomically very, very challenging. We went through a lot of delays in putting out our big bottle because
you came up with this one first, right?
We came up with the small guy first, because it's very cute when you hold it. and it is a great way to kind of kick off with a brand that you don't know of, that you want to try out. So smaller packaging is something that you're like, hey, you know what, I don't mind kind of spending this money and trying out this agave, because there's so many options out there in India. You know, gone are those days where tequila was just something you shoot, you know, and now it has become something you enjoy a flavor of.
Yeah, there are plenty of flavors of that as well. So Gunda operates both in spirits and energy drink. That's a very unusual mix, I want to ask. So what was the reason that you thought of launching both under the same umbrella?
I mean, it just goes great, right? Gunda energy. Like, you know, if you think about the thought that Gunda energy, so, you know, putting up an energy drink with that branding is very, very fitting. And like I said, you know, we came up with the brand name first, we came up with the ethos of the brand first. So coming up with products under the same umbrella now comes to us very, very naturally. And we have a whole lot of great thought around what we want to do with the brand and where we want to take it. Energy is just you know, the second stepping stone into what we want to do with the catalog.
Nice. So any more interesting plans?
Yes, hopefully, I think once this financial year is done, you know, you'll see us rolling out a bunch of other things.
Nice. So what has been, you know, the toughest part of this journey so far? Something people don't usually, you know, understand that what goes behind the challenges, as you were just mentioning about the packaging, that it do looks really cute, but only you would know the real challenges of it, right? So why did you tell us something about the, you know, difficult part of the brand?
I mean, what is not challenging? You know, frankly speaking, I think putting a brand together, वो कहते हैं ना एड़ी चोटी का जोर लग जाता है, वाकई लग जाता है, you know, and me and all of us as partners, you know, we're constantly at it, you know, and it's a 24-hour job, you know, when you're founders yourself. You know, you're not working for a company, you're working for your, you know, for yourself. So we don't really have office hours, we don't have boundaries with each other. We're picking up the phone like at 2 a.m. You know, me and my brother-in-law keep joking about it. I keep telling him that, listen, you and I should just get a wireless, because I don't think we have the patience for the phone to ring anymore. And if I can't get through, I'm trying whoever is around him, because, you know, you're constantly thinking of something, you're ideating, you're evolving. But, you know, what I've realized with life, right, I think the journey is what's fun. Now, if I look back at it, this product actually started in something as small as, like, you know, plastic bottles. You know, that's how the formulations used to come to us. And we used to, you know, all sit at 11 a.m. in the morning in the office, you know, sipping on different flavors of alcohol and kind of, you know, getting the flavoring right, getting the blends right, to, you know, challenges with the bottles that, you know, our bottles are made, but they, you know, there was a lot of difficulties with breakage and cracking. Something as, you know, I mean, I don't know if I should say this on camera, but like regulations are so tough in this country, right? It's not even, right? Every state has its own policies, you know, jumping and treading around all of that, learning on the job with, you know, what is required in Maharashtra, you know, would be different in Goa, in, you know, other regions like Haryana, Delhi, Daman and Diu, you know, and so on and so forth. I feel like everything is really, really challenging, but it was a lot of fun. I'll tell you that. You know, when we were making the blends, I remember having random journeys to kind of, you know, sit with the bottle sometimes in the car, because, you know, you wanted to kind of immediately get it out of the way. Like even right now, we've got a flavor tasting to do the minute you guys leave. So while the idea of sipping alcohol sounds very exciting, but when you're going to be held by the gun for the flavoring of it, I feel like that becomes, you know, you've got to be very responsible with it. But maza aata hai.
Was there any moment where you felt, you know, acting was much easier? And entrepreneurship, this part is little more trickier.
I mean, they're both tricky in their own ways. I don't think one is easier than the other. I feel like both have their challenges. Acting is definitely anything but easy. I've realized entertainment as an industry is a beast in its own. I feel like the lesser said today, the better.
Okay. So, do you feel that, you know, Indian startup right now, we're you know, seeing that so many brands coming up, and so what do you think that Indian brands now have a responsibility to build, you know, not just in India, but to say globally as well? You know, now audience is also very much aware, and, you know, startups now come up with a huge lot of responsibility as well, of going global for that matter. It's not just like launching in India itself.
I don't know if that's necessarily a responsibility of a startup, but what I do think that it's an amazing time where I think India is finally awakened, so to say. that we're building brands that could be scaled globally.
Sure.
And that is one of our biggest goals and desires, to kind of create a quintessential Indian brand which speaks volumes across the world, where you don't necessarily have to explain the idea. When you see the product, when you taste the product, you want to just identify it, being that, hey, you know what, that's that Indian agave from India. And that is our goal. And I think other Indian brands also doing great at it. Today you have earlier we always look at the West for the idea of what is cool.
Yeah.
And we look at ourselves and we assume that India is not cool. Things that come out of India might not be the best product.
That's
might not
sad
be the best,
reality.
but yeah,
now
like you
changing.
said, I think it's a sad misconception.
Yes.
I don't know if it's necessarily a sad reality, because I'm very, very proud of my product. When I was studying marketing, we were taught that you don't necessarily need to be the consumer to your product. I feel I stand totally against that today, because I absolutely relish my product. There are times where I'm at a bar, and this doesn't come from me being close to the brand or the brand being mine, but you just start enjoying a blend that you formulated, that the flavor of, the notes of, and like how you just crave something. I crave my own spirit, so I feel like today as a consumer and as a brand owner, I'm very, very proud of what I've built.
All right. So, and personally to you, is there any dream collaboration you would love to make it happen for Gunda?
Collaboration in terms of?
In terms of, if you want to collaborate, say in any sports events or with any sports personality.
I don't really want to put a name to it at the moment, because
But
I think that's
going to
be...
you took a pause there, Karan. You took a pause there. Is that a hint?
No, that's not a hint. I'll tell you what. I think we're so deep into the idea of building the brand at the moment that we've not really gone that far out to really think of an association in terms of, let's say, just one specific event, or maybe one specific vertical of a celebrity of any kind.
Okay.
Right now we're just 100% into building the brand, expanding it, scaling it, letting it reach as many lips as possible as a bottle. And more than any other goal, I want as many Indians to taste and sample our product. I feel like that's where my vision is, that's where my goal is at the moment.
That's pretty much happening, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying.
So as a creative person, how do you basically protect originality in the word, driven full by metrics and, say, scale? Because everywhere in business, these are the parameters on what we generally go ahead with, like metrics and scale and the results. Those algorithms. But you're a creative person.
You're saying as a creative person, how am I dabbling with the business end of it?
Yeah.
I mean, learning, you're learning, I never really used below the line, above the line kind of terminologies, or really getting into, I mean, something as simple as, getting into equity discussions and investment discussions is the mathematics I never looked at earlier. But now you do. And that's the fun of it. Like I said earlier, the fun part is actually the journey of what you're trying to build.
Okay.
Because once you build it, then I think things also go on a slight automation.
Yeah, sure.
Like the fact that today we've got, what we feel, we've got our agave right, we've got our energy drink right. So we're already thinking of the next product. So I feel like the journey and the difficulty of everything you're learning on the job, I think that's the fun part of it. So I don't think it really requires me to be creative as much. But yeah, the business end of it, you just learn on the job.
So what's one decision, you made as a founder that completely changed how you look at risk in particular? Because when it comes to business, risk is something which cannot be ignored.
Risk in terms of?
Risk in terms of loss, risk in terms of, say, things not working out the way you thought it, in that space.
I feel it's too soon to be thinking about that. You anyways know that, when you kick off a business, it's going to bleed for a while.
Yeah.
You'll be self-funding it, you'll be bootstrapping. I mean, you're bootstrapped anyway, so you'll be self-funding it constantly. That's something that you understand in general. Also, agave being such a wide, such an aspired alcohol category, you know that it's going to take a little bit of breaking into. There's not a lot of Indian players in agave. Yes, in gin, vodka.
There are plenty of
in rum,
options. Yeah.
you do, So I feel like in beers especially, but agave is a very, very new category, so to say. So breaking in is something that you're trying to think of more than how much loss you're going to incur. But of course, you're coagulating all information and you're trying to put the best foot forward. So if it does require you to take a hit in some places, you might. And you might try to balance it out, but sometimes you just let your partners also kind of put into their heads of where what needs to do.
Okay, great.
Where what needs to go. Like I said, as an actor, I'm never nervous doing interviews. But the minute it's about my brand, I feel like my mind is thinking 10 times.
So that's something good,
Yeah.
Okay, so next, these are going to be a quick rapid fire things. One word to describe your entrepreneurship journey so far.
A learning curve.
Okay, biggest misconception about startups life.
Because that is glamorous. It's anything but glamorous. You're a hardcore employee. Yeah.
Okay, one habit you've picked up as a founder.
As a founder,
Yeah.
not having boundaries.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you so much, Karan. It was
Thank you.
lovely, discussing with you, and you've given me some really good info about Gunda.
Well, we should get you to taste it now at some point.
100%. I think this is the right time to taste
Yeah,
it.
go for it. Let's get you some glasses.